Hey guys, it's Kelly. I am back with another process video. This layout is for Citrus Twist Kits and it is using their June kit. I am using a mixture of all the kits. What I end up doing is putting everything together at the end and just pick out little bits and pieces of what goes well together. So I leave a lot of this in because I want to show how the layout ended up coming together. I had pulled several of the papers that I had not used and I wanted to use along with some of the embellishments, and I loved this tag. This tag is from Pink Fresh. It says, "Wow, totally in awe," and I thought that it would be perfect for these photos. These were taken the first time that we went to Disney, and Emily was totally in awe of every single character. It didn't matter if she knew them or not. She fell in love with them, and you know, who could resist that sweet face looking up at them? And you know, the characters loved her back, and it was just so sweet. They really do a nice job at Disney. I keep telling my husband I want to go with just the two of us, and he's like, "Yeah, Kelly, that's really not, and you're supposed to have kids when you go." And I'm like, no, adults can go. And yes, he knows adults can go. He's just teasing me. And I am going to somehow make it happen. Want to go back. So I love that yellow and white stripe paper. It is from Ellie's Studio, and I thought that it would just be the perfect pop of color. It really picks up Donald's bill, and you know, I don't necessarily like to match everything in you know, like on the photo with the papers. I like it to complement, but that yellow and white stripe is just going to prove to be my nemesis. I will not be able to get this to work on the page. I will warn you now, but you are going to see me move this piece of paper around. You're going to see me cut another piece of paper of that yellow and white because I was determined to make that work, and it's just not going to work. So I just wanted to let you know that, but that way you can just kind of see how the layout comes together and what I do to figure out how to make it how to make my page work. So the pale pink really is not in the photo whatsoever, but I liked the pink with the turquoise, and I just thought that adding that extra bit of color really helped bring a softness to the page, and it also just worked well. So that's why I you know, started off with using that. Now, my problem with this is that the stripes are kind of getting lost. I think if the yellow and white stripes were bolder, as in thicker, it wouldn't have been as lost. Or in a minute, I'm going to take it and make a strip go all the way down the page. It's just, it's not working with what I had in mind. And I knew that with the pieces that I wanted to get on the page, there was one piece that says Everyday Magic, which of course, how perfect is that to use on a Disney page? And I also wanted to use that wow tag like I mentioned earlier. So at this point I'm thinking, okay, I can't, the stripes are getting lost, you're losing the effect of it, and part of, you know, when I'm using a pattern paper like that and I'm not trying to hide it, you want to make sure that the stripes don't get lost and that you can see that, you know, the stripes, you can see the continuation of the pattern. And I felt like with that first cut of pattern paper that I had, it was getting lost. Now looking back at this, this isn't too bad, but there was just something about it, and it wasn't setting right with me. So in just a minute, you're going to see that I decided to chuck it. I pulled this little label that I figured I could write the date on. I don't have a roller date stamp that goes back to 2007. So a lot of times I just handwrite my dates now, you know, when I'm doing older pages on like a little label like that. So these thickers were included in the kit, and they're a gorgeous copper color, and I thought the Good Times would work beautifully because it definitely was a good time for her. And I was thinking I was going to nestle it around that pattern paper because, you know, that really doesn't look bad. But, you know, I keep looking at the colors and I'm just not liking that yellow. So while I'm trying to figure out what to do, I wanted to go ahead and distress some of the edges. I know that I have done that a lot with my past layouts. You know, sometimes I get in a rut when I'm doing things, but it's just one of those things that I felt like was working for me. I like the texture that it gives, and you know, for me, I'm a very tactile person. I like to see it, to touch it, and I just, you know, those little details, you know, when you have a simpler layout, adding little details like that just, I think, takes it up a notch. So I decided to pull away the yellow and white striped paper, and automatically I feel like it looks so much better. I think that, you know, for me, my eye was resting. You know, I had some white space, and I'm a big fan of white space. So as soon as I took away that pattern paper, I felt like, you know, I wasn't trying to make something work for the sake of making it work. So this is pretty much how the layout is going to come together, and you're like, oh my gosh, Kelly, you've still got like, you know, 6 more minutes of video. How on earth? Like I said, I'm keeping it in so you can see how I do my page, because, you know, I don't always make pages quickly. Sometimes I have to come back. Sometimes it takes a couple of hours. Sometimes I let it sit for a couple of days. And, you know, I wish that sometimes I were that fast scrapper, but I'm just not. And I've learned to just enjoy the process and have fun with creating things and just, you know, letting the process speak for itself. So these puffy stickers were in the embellishment add-on, and I liked those leaves. I thought, you know, the tropical leaves, while I wouldn't have necessarily thought to put them on, I thought that they worked well. And because I'm adding that dark green, the dark green really pulls in the jacket that Donald's wearing with, you know, in the photos, I decided that I wanted to add a little bit of a dark color for some contrast. So I just trimmed off a small strip of that pattern paper. I believe it is from Chamel's new collection. I will have linked all of the supplies in the detail section below. So if you're interested in checking those out, you can just click below and find it. So at this point, I'm really liking the way that the layout's coming together. I love the pop of the blue and green down beneath the photos. I feel like it just, you know, brings a little contrast. It brings a little, you know, more from the photo onto the layout. It's making things feel more cohesive, and, you know, it just finally felt like it was coming together. So I'm using my Scotch Tacky adhesive in my fine line bottle, and I do get asked this quite frequently. I get my fine line bottle at Hobby Lobby, but you can also find them at Amazon, and I will try to link that below as well. And I like that glue because I find that it sticks well, and I don't have to use a lot of it, and a little goes a long way. So it's very cost effective, I think. So for my tag, I am using some twine that I had in my stash. This has some copper threads along with the twine, and it is just gorgeous, and it helps to bring out the copper in the title. And I am going to use my tiny attacher and at one point staple the twine down onto the pattern paper. I do that just to add a little more interest, and it also helps to keep the twine up in like that little loop. Again, little details for me are what I like to add on my page, and I feel like it goes a long way. So I'm just going to tuck that other puffy sticker underneath the tag. And off camera, I did punch out a Mickey head. I do have one Mickey punch, and I punched it out of pattern paper and then vellum, and then I sewed across it just to add a little more visual interest. And the other thing that it does is it allows the vellum to come up off of, you know, the vellum piece to come up over the pattern paper. So again, you know, you may not be able to see it when you're looking in, you know, when I put it in a page protector, but it's just one of those details that I know I did, and it makes it fun. And that's what, for right now, for me, just makes life much better. So since I brought up life, my mom has been doing okay. Her house has a contract pending, and I've been super busy trying to get things packed up. Again, going through someone else's stuff and their belongings is just not exactly the best. It's, I always wonder, if I'm getting rid of something that she really wants. And you can't ask her because she wants everything. And that's the sad thing. And we don't have space to put everything. And it's not cost effective to rent a storage space on something that she's going to forget that's in the storage space. So that's what I have been doing. There has been no scrapbooking for me. I think it's probably been 3 weeks now, and I'm starting to get rather grumpy. I definitely need my time back. But at the same time, I feel like I am knee deep in everything that is revolving around her and the sale of the house right now. So I'm just going to take it one day at a time, and hopefully I will be able to get back in my scrap area sooner rather than later. So this right now is probably going to be my last video for a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, I just, like I said, have not been able to get into my scrap room, and fortunately I haven't had any projects due. I do have something with Audrey later on in July, so I'll definitely have something towards the end of July. I'm just not sure with those first couple of weeks. So I appreciate you guys, your patience with that. So I decided that I needed to bring out that blue and green one more place, and this pattern paper, I had cut a cut file out that said adventure. It's on the other side of that, and the pictures that I had printed to go with it, I just didn't like it. So I am keeping the cut file because I will use it for something, and I decided I was going to use the negative space for this layout. So I first just cut a little bit off of two sides, thinking I might just offset it on one side, or just have like the top and one side show of the pattern paper. But I felt like it affected the balance, so I decided to just trim it down on equal parts, and that's pretty much it. So that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I do have some close-ups where you can see the stitching and the little details, and I am going to add journaling to the layout, just talking about how much she loved meeting the characters. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you hopefully in a couple of weeks, if not sooner. Thanks.